Morning, everyone. It's Glenn Kellaway coming to you from the basement. I should say afternoon. It's afternoon on Monday. Um, just another video here. I usually do a weekly wrap up of what's been spinning in the basement. I've got a couple things I'm going to talk about there, but I hit a used CD store yesterday that also has a few albums there, used albums. So I wanted to show you what I picked up. I was pretty excited actually. Um, so this store is called Deja Vu Discs. There's three locations in the East Toronto area, Greater Toronto area. There's one in Scarborough, which is an eastern suburb of Toronto. You go further east out of town, like 20 minutes, place called Ajax. They have a location there, and then you go another 10 minutes up the road, Oshawa, Ontario, and they have another location there. Three locations: Oshawa, Ajax, and Scarborough. If anybody's in the area, great stores, good guys. Anyway, they sell UCDs, games, and movies. And there's a guy who comes and drops off used albums there, and they put them in a big pile in shelves, and they're not organized at all. They're sitting there, and then they're in every kind of condition imaginable, from scratch to heck to in mint condition. You just gotta search for a gem. And I always find something. Sometimes I walk away with two or three, but all the albums are $8 each. But a couple times a year, they have a sale, 25% off everything in the store. So I was in there yesterday for the sale. So I only picked up one album, and it is Gary Brooker from Procol Harum. Now, Gary Brooker, I think, is one of the greatest vocalists of all time. Just an incredible voice. And I do not have this album, nor have I ever heard it. I have his other other studio album, and I can't remember the name of it right now. But this one is called "Lead Me to the Water." Gary Brooker. It's from 1982. And what really interests me on this album, besides it being Gary Brooker, and I know I'm going to like it just because I love his voice, and is the guest artists that are on this album. Drums, Phil Collins. Guitars, Eric Clapton, Albert Lee, George Harrison. Keyboards, Gary Brooker, Chris Stanton. Saxes, Mel Collins, the great Mel Collins. If you don't know about Mel Collins, go to Wikipedia and look up his resume, man. This guy has played with everybody, and he's a great, any wind instrument, this guy is a genius. He plays with King Crimson, probably, well, then the recent carnation of King Crimson, he's been the guy, and he's played with them throughout, off and on. Also played with the Stones, with Peter Gabriel, with John Lennon, with his resume is incredible. He's a great musician. Anyway, so between those guys, I thought I would check this album. I got it for $7.99 less 25%. That works out to about $6, and it looks like it's never been played. I don't know what kind of label that is, the Gary Brooker label, but Lead Me to the Water. I'm looking forward to it. If anybody's heard that album, maybe let me know what your thoughts are. The rest are all CDs. So anybody who hates CDs can turn off this video right now and don't waste your time. You guys know Cooder, the best. There's a couple albums I did not have. I'm kind of a Cooder completist. I don't believe there's too much out there that I don't have. Maybe some he's done a lot of session work, so I don't have all of that, but anything he's put out with his name on it, I have, except for these two. One is called I Flathead. This says it's the songs of Cash, Buck, and the Clowns. This is Cooder just doing his thing here. Produced by Cooder. There's the inside. It's called I Flathead. It is pretty sparse in terms of musicianship. Cooder, his son Joaquin plays drums, and then there's other guys on here who kind of show up. Mariachi Los Camperos with Jesus Guzman, Martin Bradler on drums. It's very sparse. There's a song called Johnny Cash. I don't even know if I've ever heard this album before, so I'm looking forward to hearing it. couple of Jim Keltner shows up on a few of these tracks. Uh, yeah. So anyway, that's one I'm very interested in spinning this afternoon. If you can spin a CD. The other one I got was, I had heard this before. It didn't resonate with me, but I didn't give it much of a chance, so I'm willing to try it again. My Name is Buddy by Cooder. This, from my understand, it's a whole story of, I don't know, it's seen through the eyes of a cat or something. I don't know. It says, let's join Buddy Red Cat, Lefty Mouse, and Reverend Tom Toad as they journey through time and space in the days of labor, big bosses, farm failures, strikes, company cops, sundown towns, hobos, and trains, the America of yesteryear. So it's pretty cool. It comes with a book, and well, the book's kind of attached, like a little thing with a story in it, and I don't know. We'll see. My Name is Buddy, Cooder. Next, Beck. I like Beck. I'm a big fan of Odelay, and I love the two albums he made that were really introspective of dealing with his divorce and kind of a morning. One was called Morning After or Morning Phase, and the other one I can't remember the name of it, but they were really kind of singer-songwriter-ish albums, very, very personal, good records. He's just a great musician. Anyway, I love the song "Loser" by Beck. Always loved it, but I've never had it on a CD or anything. So I found the CD for Beck. This is the original album it came on, Mellow Gold, and it was $5.99. Less 25%. So how can you go wrong? That's what that cost me, like $4 or something. Pretty cool. And the Cooders were $10 each, so $8 each. John Hyatt. So I got another whole story to tell. I'll do it in another video when this thing shows up. But I sold my Oppo Universal CD player that plays my SACDs and Blu-ray audio discs and all that stuff. So that's a whole other story coming up. And I also sold some discs with it. So now I got to replace some of those discs, my favorites, with just regular Redbook CDs. They won't, my new player that's coming, and I'm very excited. I'll be doing a video on it as soon as it gets here, probably the end of the week. It won't play specialty CDs, so I have to replace a couple. One of them I sold was John Hyatt's great album, Slow Turning. I love this album. I have it on vinyl anyway, so it's not a big deal. But $1.99, less 25%. Okay, last but not least, the man, Zappa. So I'm, whenever I get a chance, I'm plugging in my Zappa collection. I mean, there's almost 130 titles between what was released in his lifetime and what's been released posthumously, officially released. And there's a few I just don't have. And I found a couple at this store online when I was looking, and I asked them to put them away. Now, one had to come from another location, so it hadn't arrived yet. And this one did arrive, so I got it. It's Frank Zappa's guitar album. So this is pretty much Frank live playing his guitar. And it came out around 1983. He put out an album called Shut Up and Play Your Guitar before this, and this is kind of like just part 2 of that, maybe. Now, what Frank did was, this is his first release on CD. So he released this on vinyl and CD, but he was still releasing vinyl at the time. But this was the first time he did both formats. And this is a pretty good CD. I didn't have it in my collection, but I am familiar with it. And he's such a great guitar player that you can't go wrong if you like listening to guitar. That's it. Except, I'll just show you a couple things that I have been One thing I want to talk to you about, speaking of the mothers, is my great friend Larry Graves. He's just the most generous guy on the planet, and a super guy. If you think he's a nice guy just watching his videos, you met him in person, you'd want to give him a big hug. He's lovable. Larry lent me this because I don't own it, and it's the Mother's 1971 8-disc set. Now, I have not bought this because as much as I like Frank Zappa, I am not a fan of the Flo and Eddie period 70 and 71. It's too much comedy for me. The vocals are great because Flo and Eddie are great singers. The music's always good because it's Frank Zappa, but I can't listen to them carry on for more than once or twice. I get bored with it. So Larry lent me this because I really wanted to hear it. And I've been slowly getting through it. I've listened to the first couple of discs. If you like Billy the Mountain, there's like 16 versions of it in here. Anyway, what is interesting in here, two things historically. The live performance with John and Yoko at the Fillmore on June 5th, 1971, I think it is. So they played Frank's song called King Kong. Now, then John and Yoko put it out as a live album as part of the Sometime in New York record, and changed the title of the song and put their name on it as the songwriters. Frank was upset, to say the least. I'm not sure how they ever resolved it outside a court battle, or if Frank just said screw you and didn't even pursue it. But not very cool of John and Yoko, as much as I love John and Yoko. Anyway, that, and when Frank got pushed off the stage at the Rainbow Theater on December 10th, 1971, if you don't know about this, at the end of the show, a deranged fan who supposedly was jealous because his girlfriend liked Frank got up on stage and pushed Frank off the stage down into the orchestra pit, quite a few feet below. Frank was in a wheelchair for like 6 months. I think he did something to his larynx and he broke bones, and it was really, really nasty. And the show that he got pushed off the stage is on this set, and the song they were singing at the time was the last song night, I Want to Hold Your Hand by the Beatles. And anyway, I haven't listened to that part yet, but Larry tells me it's really not like disturbing or anything. You don't really get really a feel for anything violent or anything going on. But anyway, I'm interested in that set. So that's cool. And that's it. So everyone have a great day. Tuesday live chat tomorrow night. We're going to talk about Record Store Day. We're going to talk about all the record store days, the stuff we've picked up, the stuff that's disappointed us, the good, the bad, and the ugly of Record Store Day. Please join us. And that's it. Have a great one.